Hey guys, in this video we would learn how to solve function equations. Let's first understand what the word solving means. Solving in math means finding the value of the variable. A simple function equation looks like this. F of x is equal to 3x plus 5. Let's say this is a linear function equation. How do we know this is a linear function equation? Because this power is 1, so this is a linear equation. Now, finding the value of the variable, there are two variables in this equation. One variable is this x. This is called the independent variable. Why is this called independent variable? Because the function is dependent upon the x value. That's why function is called f of x. And the second variable that we have is f of x, and this is called the dependent variable. So from here we know that if we are asked to solve the equation, we would be asked to find the value of the variable, but there are two variables. One is independent and one is dependent. So that means solving would involve two different types of problems. One problem is when independent variable is given, and the other type of problem is when dependent variable is given. Now we know independent variable is on what the function depends upon. So when independent variable is given, let's say the equation is fx equal to 3x plus 5 and we are given x equal to 2. So if independent variable is given, we would be definitely asked to find out the dependent variable, and dependent variable is fx. Now if we want to find out the value of fx when x is equal to 2, how do we write this equation as? In place of x we put 2. This does not mean that we have to multiply f with 2. F of 2 means just the function when x is equal to 2. It's the value of dependent variable when the independent variable is 2. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 5 is 11. So the function value when x is equal to 2 is 11. That's what it means. So my dependent variable is f of 2, which is equal to 11 is the final answer. Let's do another question for the sake of practice. If we have fx is equal to 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 and we are given x equal to minus 5, we are supposed to find out the dependent variable again, f of x. Remember, when we substitute x as negative 5, we put it everywhere. So wherever we see x, we're going to substitute x value as negative 5. And this side we're not solving. This side just means the value of the function when x is negative 5. This has nothing to be solved. It's just a way of saying the dependent variable. Now when we put this all in the calculator, we would get, so f of negative 5 is 66. Let's say we are given this problem, gx is equal to 2x squared minus 1, and we are supposed to find out the value of the dependent variable or gx when x is given to us as a minus b. We know gx is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. So if we're given the x value as a minus b and we're supposed to find a gx, all we have to do is in place of x, we substitute a minus b. So wherever we see x, we put a minus b because x has a square. So now a minus b would have a square. Now to solve this further, we just have to expand this bracket. We can write it as a minus b times a minus b, and then we can just multiply this by expanding and simplifying. So I would have 2 times a minus 2 times b, so that will be 2a minus 2b, whole thing multiplied by a minus b. I would get 2a times a, which is going to give me 2a square, minus 2a times b gives me minus 2ab, minus 2b times a gives me minus 2ab again, minus 2b multiplied by minus b gives me plus 2b square. And this minus 1 comes as is behind it. I can collect my like terms, so I would get 2a square minus 4ab plus 2b square minus 1. And this would be my final answer. So we see now our equation or the dependent variable is in terms of a and b instead of x. Now let's do the second type of solving where the dependent variable is given to us. We have to solve the independent variable. Let's take the first example. If we have fx is equal to 3x plus 5 again, we know this is the dependent variable. So let's call the dependent variable as dv. So this is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. Let's call the independent variable as iv. Now if dv is given to you as 3, let's say, and we are supposed to find out the value of the independent variable, that means we are finding the value of x. We can rewrite the question. Now we're given fx as 3. So the whole dependent variable is given to us as 3. And we are looking forward to finding the value of the independent variable, that is x. So all we have to do is just isolate this x. Move this 5 on the other side. 3 minus 5 is 3x, which gives us a negative 2 equal to 3x. So x is equal to negative 2 over 3. So always remember, whenever we are given dependent variable, in place of fx, we put the value and we solve for the independent variable. Let's do another question for the sake of practice. If we have fx is equal to 3x squared plus 2x minus 5 and we're given fx is equal to 8 and we're supposed to find out the independent variable. So we're given the dependent variable and we're supposed to find out the independent variable. We can rewrite the question. In place of the dependent variable, we're going to put in 8. So the whole fx is your dependent variable. We're looking for independent variable and we see that independent variable is at two different spots. And this is a quadratic equation. So we cannot easily isolate for x. So whenever we are left with a quadratic equation equal to a number, how we solve this is, we move this number on the other side so that this side becomes a 0. And this is what we are going to see. So we would have 3x squared plus 2x minus 5 minus 8 is minus 13. And this equation is equal to 0. Now when the quadratic equation becomes equal to 0 and we have to solve for x, we can use either factoring or quadratic formula. So we would be using quadratic formula here. So x value will be negative b plus minus root b square minus 4ac over 2a. b is 2, so we would put in a negative 2 plus minus square root 2 square minus 4. A is 3 and c is negative 13. Divided by 2 times 3. This would give us a negative 2 plus minus square root. When we solve this whole term under the square root, we get square root 160 over 6. Square root 160 gives us 12.6. Now you have to do plus minus, so we would be doing plus and minus 1 by 1. So minus 2 minus 12.6 by 6. When all of this is put in the calculator, we get 1.76. Or we can say 1.77. When all of this is put in the calculator, we get negative 2.43. Going back to the question, so this means when fx or the dependent variable value is 8, the x value could be two answers. One is 1.77 and the other is negative 2.43.